What's up, brothers? Hope everyone's doing well out there. I was thinking, and I think a lot of people out there will find this relatable, both men and women. The overwhelming majority of women out there that express interest in me are married women. Now, you might wonder why I'm telling you this. And well, I'm telling you this because, I like to evaluate things and look at the bigger picture and try to understand what's going on in these times. And the conclusion that I've drawn is that monogamy just ain't in style anymore. I'm sure there's a lot of men out there that experience this as well. And I'm damn sure there's a lot of women out there, especially if they're on the dating apps or whatever, they meet a lot of men who are married, but they're looking for something on the side. This seems to be the norm in this day and age. Probably wasn't the norm 50 years ago. But things change. Things go out of style, new things come in style. In the early 2000s, everybody was wearing real baggy jeans, baggy clothes. Now everybody's wearing tight clothes. Style changed. Culture changes, and human beings, being the herd animals that they are, they change along with it. And 50 years ago, monogamy was in style. Open relationships were, I guess in the 70s, open relationships and swingers were becoming a thing. But prior to the 60s and 70s, it wasn't a thing. And single people were just irrelevant. But now it's kind of changed, right? Open relationships are the norm. Ethical non-monogamy or whatever they call it, swingers. Staying single is the norm. But being monogamous, that's third place. That's slowly, it's like it's getting phased out. Now, I'm not saying you can't find a monogamous relationship if that's what you want. As a man, you can lead whatever type of life you want to lead. You can make it happen. I'm just saying it's not in style. I started noticing this, I'd say I was about at the age of 30, and this was the first time that I was ever an adult experiencing single life for the first time. And let me tell you, this is how it always seemed to work out. A lot of you may relate to this. I'd see a gal, she'd be giving me what they call it, the female gaze, right? The choosing signals. And I'd notice it, I'd pick up on it, so I'd approach her, I'd start a conversation, we'd hit it off, we'd exchange phone numbers, we'd text a little bit, and eventually she'd invite herself over to my place. And we'd do our thing. And then maybe a couple weeks later, or a couple months later, I'd see her at the grocery store and she'd be with her husband. And I can't tell you how many times I experienced this exact situation. It's unbelievable, but it's the norm. I would say in my single days, in all of my years being single, which it's only been about 5 years out of my whole adult life, I'd say a good 80% of women that express interest in me are married women. Why is this? Well, because married women are the ones that are looking for something. They want some sex. They want to feel sexy again. They want to feel wanted again. And married men are on the dating apps, or they're getting the escorts, they're doing whatever, but married people in general are the hungriest for sex. Because single people are out getting drunk, they're partying, they're getting laid. They're not thirsty. They're not thirsty for sex. They're getting it. Married people aren't getting it as much. So in order to spice up their relationships, they cheat. And most people aren't going to be open and honest and like doing the swinger shit. Most people are going to be sneaky about it. That's just a fact that we're facing. That's the norm in this day and age. And I'm not saying that I recommend this. That's not what I'm doing in any way, shape, or form. I recommend the opposite. I do recommend monogamy. But I'm just saying this is what I see. This is what I experience. When I was younger, I grew up in the church. And, I remember sermons being preached about cheating, what do they call it, adultery. And, typically what they would do is tell a story about a, handsome Chad alpha type of man, successful in life. And they'd tell a story about how he had it all, but he was just a low-down dirty dog cheating on his wife, right? And they would shame him. The whole sermon would be about that and about having a faithful marriage and whatnot. And I used to think as a kid, well, that's an outlier, right? That's something to be ashamed of. You never want to become that. But as I grew and became an adult, I started to realize that's not the outlier. That's the norm. That's not the exception, that's the rule. That's what's going on in this day and age. And it's promoted in culture and movies and music and college. It's promoted all across the board. And come to find out, half the time, the preachers in these churches are doing it. I hate to say it, but it's true, right? To be all the way honest. We see these things happen, people aren't perfect. But I find this interesting because for the last 10 years I've been living in the Bible Belt, living in Oklahoma. Doesn't get much more wholesome, conservative, religious, God-fearing than this part of the country right here. And open relationships is the norm, and not even open relationships. Cheating is the norm, from what I see. And if it's like this in Tulsa, Oklahoma, imagine what it's like in London. Imagine what it's like in Paris. Imagine what it's like in Sydney, New York, LA, Miami, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Seattle, you name it. Those places are very open, very liberal. I'm not judging you based on your religion or your politics or anything like that. I'm just saying, you don't want to be naive. When I first found myself single, I didn't think of things the way I do now. So when I'd see a woman that I'm attracted to, and the attraction was mutual, and we could swap numbers and we could make it happen, I didn't really think too much of it. I just thought, well, I'm getting mine in. I'm having a good time. I never really dug deep enough to even find out what may be going on in her life. And, maybe had I done that, I wouldn't have been doing that. But, it's something to think about, because I know most people out there, they want the idea of a monogamous, faithful, healthy relationship. But I also know most people out there aren't capable of a loving, faithful, and monogamous relationship. So, if that's what you're looking for, you have to really buckle down and work hard to make that shit happen. You gotta have a strict set of rules. And these rules can't be broken. Neither you or your lady can allow the other one to spend time, alone time with somebody of the opposite sex that isn't a family member. Because we're all humans. No matter how much discipline you have, if you're going to lunch with a coworker, if you're spending time, you might as well just call it a date with some random woman. if she's spending time with some random dude, some guy's training her at the gym, so on and so forth, one thing is going to lead to another. But you know what the crazy thing is? Crazy thing is, it's widely accepted to be in these open relationships. You know, most people promote it and recommend it. My first job when I was younger, I was 18 years old, my first adult job. I remember there was a couple in there that were swingers. It was like a probably 50-year-old couple, white couple. And they liked to swing. You know, she'd watch him with other women, he'd watch her, that cuckold and shit, all the weird shit, right? We used to, all the younger guys were like, this dude's a fucking weirdo, you know, and his wife would always be flirting with us, you know, she was wanting some of us, the young studs, right? But hell no, we weren't gonna mess with any of that. That shit was weird to us. But it was a different time period back then. Nowadays, you know, I'd say a good 50-60% of people out there are doing that shit. Whatever, man. You know, like I said, I don't promote it, but you can expect it. You can expect it to take place. So, think about it. You know, a lot of people say no woman is ever truly single. You can't say that about a man because there's a lot of lonely ass men out there. But they say no woman is ever truly single. So what's that mean? Well, even if she's not married, there's some man that's in love with her, investing time and money on her. She's really special to him, and he's trying his best to keep that relationship intact. It means a lot to him. You know, when you slide in there and smash his girl, you know, throws a monkey wrench in the operation, doesn't it? And, you know, a lot of people out there, and like I said, it's not just women. If men have the opportunity to cheat, most of them would too. They just don't have the same opportunities women do. But, you know, most of these marriages, and most of the time this happens, anybody that's been with the same person for, let's say, more than 5 years, you know this happens. Sex life gets a little boring. You've been with the same person over and over again. You're both looking at other people. And humans are gonna human. I would say monogamy is, from a biological standpoint, I'd say human beings are serial monogamists. I think the emotional connection, the honeymoon phase, from a biological standpoint, is only supposed to last, you know, maybe long enough to have 1 or 2 babies. You know, maybe 2 or 3 years tops, and it runs out. It's over with. Mosquito. You know, and after that 2 or 3 years slips by, you start to get eyes for other people. And, you know, we see a lot of that. I think monogamy, a lifelong monogamous relationship, that's really hard work. And they make it so easy to get divorced now. So easy to cheat without your partner knowing. You can't expect for it to not happen. And like I said, I think monogamy is third place. I think there's a lot of people that are in open relationships and they like what they're doing. I think there's a lot of guys that just want to stay single. A lot of women that want to stay single, you know. I think also that's a big reason why the majority of women that express interest in me are married women, because single women, they just want to be left alone. Or they want to get drunk and hook up with some random dude. They're not really pursuing men. But married women, they want it. They want to feel wanted, so they are out there pursuing men. But nonetheless, you can get your needs met in an open relationship. You can get your needs met when you're single. But sad to say, the people that are getting their needs met the least are the people in the marriages. It is what it is. You know, I don't make the rules. I'm just stating what I see. I don't know if you guys see things the same where you're at, but that's what I see where I'm at. But I ain't got no more sunshine. It looks like it's getting dark out here. As much as I'd like to keep this one going, I think we're going to have to shut this one off. But you know damn well we will be back with another video. Same time, maybe not the same place. But I will see you guys around. And I know this video certainly was not somewhat informative. And maybe it was, but it wasn't meant to be informative. Hopefully this video was somewhat relatable, because that's what we're going for in this one. Oh yeah, one more thing. Actually, you know what? We're going to save that for the next video. Save that for tomorrow. Hope this video is somewhat relatable. And that's about it for tonight, guys. Until next time. See ya. Everybody was wearing big, baggy-ass clothes. We always get some funky sound effects in these videos. Everybody's wearing big, baggy-ass clothes.